What is going on, guys? It's Justin, and in this video, it's been almost 4 years since I've been on YouTube. I came on YouTube right before Bret Hart returned. December of 2009 is when I started on YouTube, and for it to be the night before the 1000th episode of Raw, it's just amazing. I've seen so much stuff over the last 4 years, not only on wrestling, but through the wrestling community on YouTube. Just so many great shooters, so many people that have voiced their opinion of the product. Not only WWE, not only WWF, not only TNA, WCW, AWA, New Japan, Shimmer, just so many intelligent people that have such knowledge of wrestling. I never thought that 4 years ago, getting on YouTube to do videos, I would see so many people that had so much interest in wrestling, and it's just amazing. And to see the hype going into this 1000th episode of Raw is just crazy, because a lot of the shooters that started out when I did have either left or aren't really making videos anymore. It's sort of like a younger generation coming up that's making videos, and the sad thing is we're losing a lot of aspects of the old wrestling content, because a lot of the younger people that make videos nowadays only been watching wrestling since, say, 2000, 2002, so they haven't really focused on the past or what has happened in the past. And it's weird kind of to watch them talk about the thousandth episode of Raw, because a lot of them weren't even born when Raw started. They weren't around during the Attitude Era, or weren't watching wrestling during the Attitude Era. So a lot of these people that are voicing their opinion on the 1000th episode of Raw are basing it on stuff that has more or less happened in the last 10 years, which is kind of weird in my opinion. But on this video, I just want to give my take sort of on the 1000th episode of Raw and where Raw's come from the past. Starting off, of course, in the Manhattan Ballroom with the likes of The Undertaker versus Damien Demento, the Steiner brothers. Who else was there? You didn't even have like big name announcers back then. Of course, Macho Man would weave in after a couple episodes, but to start off, they wanted something new. They wanted something to refresh, something to change the wrestling industry, and they definitely did that over a couple years. At the beginning, of course, we had the likes of like Max Moon, and don't get me wrong, there was amazing matches like the 1-2-3 Kid versus Bret Hart. You had Razor Ramon versus 1-2-3 Kid, where 1-2-3 Kid finally got a victory and pretty much solidified his name as a good wrestler. Of course, then the comedic aspects with like Bashed and Booger and Mantar and stuff like that, leading into, of course, the Monday Night Wars with WCW. Of course, that's when the Attitude Era took off, and the pinnacle of the wrestling industry really hit around, I would say, 1996-97 is when wrestling was at its all-time peak. But like I said, it's really sad that a lot of these people on here that are reviewing or talking about the 1000th episode of Raw weren't really around back then. So they're only basing their opinion based on what they've seen on DVD or Blu-ray or even some of them VHSs. But they weren't around to actually see how big of an impact the Monday Night Wars and wrestling was at that point. You could pretty much go into any store in between 95 and 98, and you would find something wrestling related. It was that big. I'm pretty sure that any station that you tuned in on television, you were going to hear wrestling related information or something that was targeting the wrestling industry. Even in rap songs, like you have Eminem talking about wrestling in his albums that came out in, say, 2000, 99, 2000. So that just gives like how big of an impact it was. And of course, like the WWF at the time was on the PG-14 way of doing stuff. So it was at the same level of like a South Park at the time, because South Park was very groundbreaking as well. It didn't really, it really pushed the envelope, and that's what WWE was doing also at the time. Me watching the 1000th episode tomorrow should be interesting. I know they're talking about bringing back a lot of stars from the past, and I'm not usually a big fan of that. But if it's for a one night stint, then sure, why not? I know it's an important show. The only bad thing I have about going into the 1000th episode is that the WWE hasn't really focused on any storylines leading up to the 1000th episode. They've been so focused on that once that show is done, they pretty much have to build every storyline the week after, leading up to SummerSlam. I know people are going to say, well, we're going to see Brock Lesnar versus Triple H, or the confrontation between those two on the 1000th episode. But, aside from that, I don't see many storylines being built off of it. You might have the John Cena CM Punk thing build a little bit more. But like I said, there's not a lot of storylines being built towards SummerSlam yet. And like I said, the problem was that they wanted to push the 1000th episode so much and hype it so much that they kind of lost track of what, the wrestling show is all about. It's about creating a storyline, creating an illusion of reality and fictional characters for people to watch and people to get, emotionally involved in. Sort of like how a soap opera is for people that watch soap operas. That's how wrestling's supposed to be. And WWE right now doesn't seem to be doing that. Like I said, they're focused on this one show. Hopefully afterwards they'll be able to take off and rebuild the storylines to actually make sense. But it'll be interesting. I've heard several rumors of who might show up tomorrow night. The likes of Stone Cold, The Rock, DX, NWO, I don't know, the list goes on and on. There's even been rumors of people showing up that haven't been announced or haven't been, spoiled or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what the WWE can pop out of their asses to, give us that shock value that, they want to install. And the reason why they also need to do that, they need to make sure that the fans can tune in for 3 hours worth of episode. With this being the first major 3-hour show, not to say they haven't done 3-hour shows in the past, but this is the one that's kicking off them from now on being a 3-hour product. They really need to go in with a bang, because if they don't, they're going to be losing a lot of viewership. A lot of viewers can't sit there for 3 hours to watch a wrestling program unless it's like a major pay-per-view. 2 hours usually is enough for the storylines on Raw to progress and have, some kind of sense made out of them. For 3 hours, I think is more or less pushing the limit. One thing I'm scared about is that with the 3-hour limit, it's also about more product placement in the actual wrestling product, not only during the matches. For a while there, they had, brought to you by KFC or whatever. There was even the Monday Night Raw where Donald Trump came in and he had a no commercial Raw, but it was product placement throughout the whole Raw. So WWE still ended up paying the money forward to those companies, just in another way. And I just have a feeling that the 3-hour Raws from now on are based on that, making more commercial money off of the product that they're providing and not necessarily focusing on the actual product that people are tuning into. But that's my take on the 1000th episode of Raw. You guys let me know what you guys think. Comment below and I'll catch you guys later. One love, mad love. Peace.